Man, there are some good linebackers in this draft, and especially in the first two rounds. Miami doesn't need linebackers, or do they? What is up, Finn fans? We are up to linebackers in our draft prospect video. Then I think on either Thursday or Friday, I'm going to do secondary. So I'm going to give you 5 corners and I'm going to give you 5 safeties because the Dolphins need corners and safeties. And then that's it, because next week is the draft. And on Monday, I'm doing a mock draft. On Tuesday, I'm doing a mock draft with trades. And on Wednesday, you are going to get my preview of the 2025 Miami Dolphins draft. This week, you're going to get a lot of reactions. You're going to get, I have a ton, strategies, best and worst case scenario. We're getting there. Next week, Thursday, 24th at 8 p.m., I will be live on this channel. And then on Friday, 7 o'clock, I will be live on this channel for rounds 2 and 3. So we're almost there. We're almost there for the draft. Now, today we're talking linebackers. And there are a lot of linebackers in this draft I like. But the Dolphins don't need linebackers. They don't need them. But before we jump into that real quick, I do have to shout out today's sponsor, and that is BetUS TV. Check them out, betustv.com. You get your odds, your markets, your sports content, betustv.com. Or you can find them here on YouTube, betustv, or on X at betustv. Thank you guys so much for sponsoring this video. So 5-1. And like I said, you'll see, I'm like, ooh, I really like this guy. I love the Dolphins to draft him, blah, blah, blah. But having Brooks and, bringing in Willie Gay Jr. and then bringing all the guys back that we already, kind of had, or guys that, our linebacking core isn't as bad as it was initially. Because again, we have Terrell Dotson came back. We brought in KJ Britt. We have Jordan Brooks, and then we have Willie Gay Jr. Those 4 guys are solid linebacking core, and I wouldn't be upset going into the season with them. But you tell me you don't throw one of these guys I got on my list in there, you don't feel better about it. You're lying to yourself. But then obviously the Miami Dolphins have bigger needs in other positions. But I really like this. I like my 5. And without me rambling on anymore, let's get to number 5. That's Chris Paul Jr. out of Ole Miss. He's 6'1", 235, ran a 4.63. He's got fluid. He's a fluid athlete. And you're going to hear me talk about, a lot of lateral movement, a lot of athletes, a lot of this and that, physical, blah, blah, blah. And these are things that I look for in quarterbacks. Well, quarterbacks at the defense, that's another thing you're going to hear me talk about. But this is what I look for in linebackers, because that fluidity and him being a fluid athlete means he can move sideline to sideline. He's good in coverage. He has the ability to drop back into coverage after potentially biting on a play action. These are all things that we're going to be looking at, not only with the linebackers, but also with the safeties, because these safeties are going to be playing up, playing midfield, maybe on the ball, off the ball, all these different positions. And with Chris Paul, his fluidity is a plus. He's a great tackler. He had 6.2% missed tackles in 2023. So that's a big thing because the Dolphins love to miss tackles. Blitzer, he's an explosive downfield or downhill blitzer. And, you're looking at some of these linebackers, especially my number 2 guy, he could potentially be a pass rusher. He could be that outside guy. Chris Paul Jr. is more of that off the ball guy, but he has the potential to blitz. Excellent communicator. And this is where I said quarterback. He was the quarterback of Ole Miss defense, and that's something you want. Now, with the way it works is you kind of have 2 quarterbacks, give or take, because with the safeties, you have, one of the guys kind of helps relay the plays, especially if you're that far away from the defense. The linebacker is going to make certain movements to let everyone know, but the safeties have to help, but he needs to understand. And, again, he's the quarterback. He's essentially in the quarterback position of the defense. So he is that. His downfall, and again, I'll repeat this, He's 6'1", 235. That's kind of his downfall. He's undersized. He's going to have problems getting off blockers. He's going to have problems getting in the gaps, making the tackles. He's not good at fitting in tight spaces. That's why, to me, he's number 5, is he's undersized. He could gain weight, but he's still 6'1". But us Dolphin fans know of undersized linebackers that ended up being really well and ended up being in the Hall of Fame. If you know who that is, comment below. So that's my number 5 linebacker in this draft. My number 4 is Demetrius Knight Jr. out of South Carolina. Yes, I did not write all of South Carolina out because then his name would have been like this big. 6'2", 245, ran a 4.58. He's got good linebacker size. Again, you got 6'2", 245. And you got 6'1", 235. You see how like matriculous and how, that's not even a word, and how like they just you need to gain like 10 more pounds, and if you're off by this much, it's like, oh, he's undersized. But great size, loves the physicality of the football. He's got long arms, which is what you need, especially when it comes to batting the ball down, jumping up and possibly getting interceptions or batting the ball at the line of scrimmage. Strong tackler, fast processor. And that's what you need. Again, you got some play action going. You got to be able to react. If there's some type of audible, if there's some type of motion, he has to be a fast processor. He has to recognize things that he's seeing, the motions he's seeing. Oh, play action. Nope, not play. A lot. You got to be a fast processor. Good athlete, fast hands. And the fast hands go into the pass rushing ability. You heard that last week when I was talking about the defensive line. It's negatives. It's over aggressive. And being over-aggressive can bite you in the butt, especially with the play action, especially with the run stopping. You might shoot the gap too much. You might shoot the wrong gap. Being over-aggressive, you might think, oh, he's going to hit the A gap, and he kind of does a juke to the inside and hits a different gap. Misses. Can miss the quarterback on a blitz being over-aggressive. The other thing, he's 25 years old. He's going to be one of the oldest prospects in this draft. That's a negative. That's why I have him at my number 4 spot. Again, number 5 is Chris Paul Jr. because of the undersize. Number 4 is Demetrius Knight Jr., 2 juniors, because of his age. I think, my next 3. I don't think anyone would disagree with my next 3 linebackers. I think you might just disagree with where I have them 1, 2, and 3. But yeah, that is number 4. My number 3 linebacker in this draft is Carson Schwess. I can say it. It's just the dyslexia is making me mess it up. Schwessinger. I could say it, man. Just leave me alone. UCLA, 6'2", 225, ran a 4.7 at his pro day. He is 100% all the time. This man is on. This man is playing hard. He is doing what he needs to do when he wants to do it. Good flexibility as not only an off-the-ball linebacker, but also as a pass rusher. He's a quick processor. Again, that is a big thing when it comes to playing off the ball. NFL caliber speed and vision. That's something you need, especially the speed part, being able to keep up with these tight ends and these running backs. He's physical. Loves to tackle. Loves to hit you. Slippery. The crap do you mean slippery, Doug? Does he cover himself in baby oil? I was going to make a joke, but probably inappropriate. Certain celebrity. If you know, you know. Getting in between, doesn't get blocked very easily. Slippery. Get in there, make the tackle. Consistent wrapping up effort and discipline. Again, really good tackler. Negatives. He's on the lighter side when it comes to his weight, and that tends to get him in trouble. When it comes to, if he does get grabbed, he's slippery, but if he does get blocked, he kind of has a hard time getting off of it. Again, kind of a little bit on the underside. And again, because he's underside, he has to wrap up tackle, which I would prefer, but in some situations it could hurt you. I don't like the guys who throw shoulders and try to make a big old boom, because you're going to miss, or you're going to try to do it to, Derrick Henry, and he's just going to laugh at you and keep running. I love Carson Schwessinger. I could say, I'm just having a mental lapse today. I'd love him in the second at 48. He might not be there. He might be there. I'd love him in the second. I think he would be fantastic. 6'2", 225, just gain some weight, physicality part, mentality part. He has it. But again, I'd love him at 48. I think he would be a great addition to the linebacking core. I think he would be a instant starter come like week 5 or 6, learning from Willie Gay Jr. and all these guys. But again, I'm going to have a video on the needs going to the draft. Is it a need? And that's what sucks about what I'm going off on a little tangent. That's what sucks about what the Dolphins did during free agency is we can't do something like taking a draft pick and an athlete like Carson because we have so many needs on D-line and offensive line and corner. Like, we can't take a chance on this kid. We can't go out and draft him and have him be that potential because of how much we are in a need situation, which sucks, really sucks. Then my number 2, Jalen Walker, Georgia. Some people have him 1. I got him 2. 6'2", 245, ran a 4.5 at his pro day. He's got the size for outside linebacker as well as linebacker. Some people have him listed as a pass rusher. I think he's more of a off the ball linebacker, but again, he can do both. He's got that natural pass rusher skill. That's probably why a lot of people have him there. His explosive first step, powerful upper body, and long arms. That's why a lot of people have him at that outside linebacker position. Here's the negative. And again, this is probably why a lot of people have him that outside linebacker position. He doesn't have a lot of coverage experience, so he will struggle a little bit in that situation. And it was, just so you know, it was very hard for me to go my 2 and 3. Like, I switched it so many times. I had Carson at 2 and Walker at 3, and then back and forth and back and forth. Lacks lateral quickness, and again, you need that, especially as an off-the-ball linebacker. Instinct and anticipation is a work in progress, and he runs into blockers. So, it kind of reminds me of Jerome Baker. Jerome Baker, for the few first years of his career with the Dolphins, he kind of, when he would run into a blocker, and then he was stuck. You weren't getting him off. So, again, I could very easily switch him and Carson. It's a very close. I might mentally right now do it and have Carson be 2 and have Walker be 3, just because Carson is more of an off the ball linebacker, and in my opinion, the Dolphins need that more than they need a pass rusher. But my number 1 guy can do it all. And you should know who my number 1 guy is, because I would love for the Dolphins to take him at 13. I would love for the Dolphins to trade down and take him. He's not a need. Linebacker's not a need, but I think this player is going to be very, very good. I think this is another situation where the Dolphins traded for Chubb instead of taking the linebacker, and we're kicking ourselves. And it's another situation I think will be like that with Jahad Campbell out of Alabama. 6'3", 244, ran a 4.52 at his pro day. I think he's going to be so good. Like, I'm going to watch his career and watch him become watch the Ravens draft him or something. He's the next Ray Lewis, because I think he's going to be that good. He's got the perfect size to play off the ball. He's got long strides, which make his pursuit and getting after these tight ends and running backs and all that stuff very easily. He's got the pass rush option, because at the combine, he did his linebacker stuff, and then he stayed and did the pass rushing drills, which is crazy. Long arms. He has a low missed tackle percentage, and he evades blockers very well. I think, again, Jahad Campbell, love him at 13. His negatives, his anticipation could be a little slow, needs to work on that. He needs to develop more of a zone feel. Not saying he can't play zone, but he just needs to work on that. Again, these are things that could work on, especially you put him in a linebacking core that we have where he doesn't need to be a starter. And he plays a little bit more urgent than he needs to, and he's a high tackler. Again, these are all things that he can work on. If the Dolphins would have gotten a guard, would have got more defensive tackles, and then I would take Jahad Campbell at 13. I honestly would. And You could take a corner in the second round. You could take a safety in the second round. You can take a defensive tackle in a second round to add into that. You could take a guard in the second round. All four of those positions that the Dolphins need. But they didn't need to be needs. Because I think Jahad Campbell's going to be good. He's a man crush of mine on this list. Of all the prospects in this draft, I think Jahad Campbell's going to be really good. But the Dolphins can't afford to take him because they have bigger needs. They need a guard. They need defensive linemen. They need a corner more than they need Jahad Campbell. I would put, looking at the crop of free agents post-draft and that are still out there, there's still some good safeties and Simmons and Quandre Diggs and stuff. So safety isn't that big of a need. Corner, I don't feel as comfortable with the corners out there in free agency, so that's why corner is bigger for me. Left guard, you can grab one in the second round because you do have some veteran left guards out there that can step in. Defensive line, we need so many of them. So like to me, it's like that's my hierarchy, and I'll go more into this when I talk about it this week, the draft needs. I'm like trying to convince myself for them to take Jahad Campbell. I just wish they were in a better situation where they could take Jahad at 13 or trade down a little bit. Because I know he has the I think it's the arm injury, but it's not a leg injury. I would be more afraid if it was an Achilles, an ACL, a PCL, an MCL, any of those types of injuries where, it's going to slow him down or anything. 4.52. His legs are fine. It's an upper body injury. He'll be fine. He'll probably be ready for the start of the season. But again, it's a situation where he wouldn't need to be because we have what we have at the linebacking core. But unfortunately, we cannot take him. I don't care. Jahad Campbell at 13. He is going to be, when I do my preview, I'm going to tell you who I want at 13 and who I want at 48. And obviously 48 will change because we'll see who's still available after day one. I'm giving you a spoiler. Jahad Campbell will be a name that I want at 13. I don't care what our needs are. I know I'm going to get yelled at. We need offensive linemen. I understand that, but I just think Jahad Campbell's ceiling is so high, and I think he's going to be so good. Take him at 13. Comment below. Let me know what you guys think. I expect you to fully yell at me about we don't need a linebacker at 13. I get it, but when you have a man crush, you have a man crush, and he's mine. And I would love him at 13. Comment below. Let me know what you guys think. And again, shout out to BetUS TV. Go check them out. I will see you tomorrow. What are we doing tomorrow? I don't know. I have like a list. Maybe I'll react to mock drafts that are out there, see who the Dolphins, they have the Dolphins taken, and if I agree or disagree. Maybe we'll do that tomorrow. But other than that, like usual, stay classy. If in top.